So 2023 has been a roller coaster ride for me. I came back from a 1 year sabbatical that I took in 2022 in order to recover from a burnout. And 2023 has been the year wherein I jumped back into the labor force, determined not to make the same mistakes again. So looking back, 2023 has been the year where I've experienced the most massive growth with regards to personal and professional development. So in this year, I started and left my previous job, I moved flats, I became an appointment setter, and I started this YouTube channel. It's also the year wherein I promised myself that I would protect my space, protect my energy, and go out and meet people who share the same values as I do. So in this video, I will talk about 5 key takeaways that have massively contributed to my growth during 2023. So journaling has not only massively accelerated my personal growth, but it has also helped relieve my anxiety. Journaling, in its sense, is not really new to me, especially since I've been journaling for several years already. However, I decided to actually take it one step further. Instead of mindlessly just jotting down my thoughts, I decided to work with prompts instead. I follow certain journal prompts that not only help me with my reflections, but also keep myself accountable when reaching my goals. So in the mornings, I normally do a journal of threes. So what are 3 nice things that happened to me yesterday? What are 3 kind things I did for someone yesterday? And what are 3 things that I look forward to today? And if I have like those weird and anxious thoughts that are like roaming around, I also write them down. Then ask myself, are they valid? Are they justified? Or where are these thoughts actually coming from? Asking these journal prompts and keeping myself accountable to my thoughts helps me bring myself back to reality and prevents me or my brain from catastrophizing a rather normal event. And also before I go to bed, I normally jot down 3 things. So the first would be, what is my biggest win for that day? What is the lesson or lessons that I have learned? And 2, how can I make tomorrow better? So I have a tendency to overanalyze things. And previously when I would just randomly write in my journal, I could easily fill 2 or 3 pages. However, this practice has also led me to overthinking, which in the end fueled procrastination or basically just me feeling sorry for myself. But by following certain journal prompts, it 1 keeps me accountable to my goal, it helps me stay grateful, and lastly, it helps me keep track of the daily lessons that I've learned. So the second lesson that I've learned from 2023 was to not care about what other people say. This, I swear, it's easier said than done, because as a former people pleaser, this was for me the most difficult thing to get over. So limiting myself, my growth, or how I showed up, in fear of other people's judgment, drastically slowed down my growth. But in reality, this actually prevented me from doing a lot more things. I've always wanted to build a personal brand in social media, but I was also super afraid of what other people might think. I was scared, 1, they would question my credibility, 2, my colleagues would see it and laugh at me, or 3, I'd have people say bad things straight to my face. So I've read so many books and watched so many videos on personal development and how to develop healthy habits. But they didn't really help me because I was too afraid to take action. So this change didn't come overnight. Rather, it took a lot of repetition and a lot of doing things in secrecy until it came to the point wherein I no longer cared about what other people thought. And this feeling of really not giving a is, I tell you, so liberating. So someone once told me that the people you admire or those who have already gone through what you are currently going through are the last people to judge because they know how much courage it actually takes to do that step. However, those who are too scared to take that step are often the first one to actually throw the first word. The third lesson that I learned was to limit the amount of information I consumed. I don't know if you've had this, but every time there's a lack in my life, I normally turn to the internet, to YouTube, to books, to social media to try to find information to fill in that gap. But right now, especially with personal development at its peak, the sheer amount of volume and advice that one can find in social media can be super overwhelming. It can be so easy for us to drown in all these self-help and other types of advices online. So I used to confuse productivity with listening to a podcast or watching a video. I thought that as long as I'm consuming information relevant to what I would need, I am actually moving the needle. You know that feeling when you're doing your errands and you just want to have this dopamine hit of productivity? So you listen to a podcast on the side, you watch a YouTube video, And sooner or later, like after watching back-to-back episodes, you can't really remember what they mentioned in the first episode. So I've been so guilty of this. I've been consuming so much information that it actually prevented me from taking action. But back then, little did I know that because of the sheer amount of information that I was taking, this actually prevented me from creating. So one valuable lesson that I learned is you have to create more than you consume. Whether it's in your finances, it's your energy, or it's information. So when I drastically limited the amount of information that I consumed, from, for example, listening to a podcast every day and reducing it to only 1 or 2 times a week, so I began creating more. I felt that it was now easier for me to think and to hear my thoughts as compared to when I had someone constantly talking over my ear. So the fourth lesson I learned was to make time for energy-giving activities. This can be doing a hobby, surrounding yourself with friends. So previously, my weekdays were normally consumed with work and my weekends were spent recovering from the work week. Also, I thought that if I wanted to build something on the side, I would have to push myself even harder. While I don't discount the importance of hard work, I decided to shift my focus on building more energy. I made time for people and friends who inspire me, sports that gave me this energy kick such as indoor cycling, or activities that helped me wind down a bit such as walking. It has been such a game changer for me when I started producing work from a full cup of energy as compared to when I was just constantly tired and drained. Happy people generate great results. I have to admit that this shift in focus also shifted the way I pursue my goals. So I used to think that I needed to reach the short-term goals in order for me to be happy. But now I consider the pursuit of these goals to be a marathon rather than a sprint. I now celebrate each milestone and I enjoy almost every step of the way. The last lesson that I learned is that there's never a better time to start something than right now. I used to push a lot of things into the future, my goals, my savings, my health, thinking that one day when I reach my goal, I wouldn't have to worry about it. I've been stuck with this kind of mentality for over a decade, which I have to admit has gotten me through certain days. However, this way of thinking didn't really help me progress as much as I wanted to. So in my full-time job, I tend to work a lot, and I'm someone who's guilty of putting professional needs before my own. So if there was a stressful week at work, I would normally use the weekend to prepare myself for the stressful week ahead. But really, this actually led me to put my personal goals and personal needs last. I always thought that whenever I'm ready or when I have time, I will do this. However, this time never came. Every time I said yes to something else, I was actually saying no to myself. So 2023 has been the year wherein I've said yes to myself a lot, which led me to create more time and space for my goals. And this also led me to say no to anything that doesn't contribute to it. You'll never be as young, as fit, or as qualified as you are right now. So stop procrastinating and start that goal. So these were the 5 lessons I learned for 2023, which has really been a great and transformative year for myself. I hope that this video has provided some valuable insights to you, so you don't repeat the same mistakes that I did. So if you've gotten this far, thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, give it the big thumbs up, or subscribe if you haven't already.